What's up? I'm back at it again, and I want to pick up on the topic of spiritual blindness. It's a good topic. In a world full of deception, lies, immorality disguised as righteous behavior, it's important for people to know how to see the world through spiritual eyes. For example, one of the biggest deception that people go for is the greed associated with money. See, it's that pursuit of money that leads people into many different deceptions where they compromise their virtues, their ethics, and their morality to achieve something that causes them to lose the very character that made the money worth something. It's almost like, let's say, a woman who's pursuing a man because of his wealth, but because of his wealth overlooks his character and his values, the very values that would determine how she's cheated in that marriage or relationship and give the fruit that comes from that union any value. It's like if a woman lives in a mansion and she has all the material possessions that she can desire, but she's lonely, that she feels devalued and unappreciated because she's just an object. Or a man that works for a company whose number one principle is not providing a service to benefit people, but just to extort people for greed. And he gains all this wealth, and as a result of the wealth he's gained, he sees the results that came from that wealth, the destruction it caused. And he no longer can enjoy the value of the money when he sees how society creates the very problems it's trying to fix. Spiritual blindness is the number one destroyer of people, and it starts with the children. Even now the school system is more focused on indoctrination than actually education. Education having a root word in Latin to bring out of the person their talents, to develop their innate abilities. But instead, the school system wants to mainly indoctrinate people for profit, to move the funding around. It's not focused on bringing out and harnessing the latent potential in the kids. And because people lack spiritual discernment, this is why the institutions all lack values. The institution of marriage, the school system, all of it lacks values, and people struggle with their basic relationships. The reason that families don't exist basically is a compromise of the pursuit of individual wealth. Now, because there's a divide among men and women in how to define roles and how to see the benefit of a family over their personal victories in life. So the result of all of this individual wealth is the destruction of the family, the very foundation to how generational wealth and productivity is built and cycled through generations. So now you have people that live in families, they have all this wealth that's lost in one generation. And we have to see if the collective does matter, if there is a larger goal, it's going to be lost without spiritual sight to see the very benefits of having wealth. You give a fool money, not only will he lose it, he's likely to destroy himself because he doesn't know what to do with it. He has no direction and purpose outside of getting the money. So he's more likely to do something foolish with it. The Bible says, he that gaineth wealth but not by right, the end of him is a fool. Truest words ever been spoken. We live in a system with all this legality and all these ways where you can gain wealth just as fast and have it taken away just as fast. And the only thing that allows you to navigate through those kind of intricate legal situations is wisdom, personal responsibility. You know, spiritual values are what allows you to honor your elders, to learn from their trials and struggles and their experiences, but that's lost in generations. You know, the youth have no generation for the elders, and the elders can't see the vibrant potential in the youth. And this is all intentional. This is all a social engineering construct that's purposely feeding off of people losing their spiritual values. Because the destination and the purpose and direction of life have been lost for these very vain aspirations, such as attention seeking, validation from wealth, sex. All of these are poisons without the spiritual foundation to actually give people the proper context to avoid the problems that come with these things. The divorce rate is skyrocketing. You could tell marriage has been divorced from our Creator, from God, because no-fault divorce and irreconcilable differences have no bearing in the scriptures. Marriage was created out of a religious institution. It comes from a spiritual overflow designed to keep men and women in roles to which the greater goal, which is preparing a family that lives within the values of God, to produce godly values as an overflow of that family into the community, into the world. But now there is no light in the world. People are just living in darkness, producing more darkness. And they can't navigate nor see the negative consequences that will come from that spiritual blindness. You know, this topic is so important because everybody's complaining about what's going on in the world. And it's almost like as the food is, without spiritual discernment, you trust the world that's open about feeding you genetically modified food because you have no appreciation for creation, because you have no appreciation for a creator. And that lack of knowledge foolishly leads you to trust a world that's proven that it has no love for you. This world will bury you just as fast as they built you. You know, and everything that you live for will just be given to someone else when you die. What is the cost of all these things if it costs you the life of your children? If your children get caught up in a system that's designed to set traps just to take advantage of their ignorance. So, spiritual values are what protect people from living life without purpose. You know, everything comes back to God, to why we live, to everything we do. You know, people who complain about white supremacy and the system being whatever they think it is. Well, you have to understand that these are people who have no honor to God, the biblical true God, but just like every other selfish person will do anything to justify their own pursuit of happiness. That's what creates systems of oppression. People just thinking about themselves, not seeing the greater purpose in life, to overflow the love that was given to and reflected by your Creator. And, you know, to me, it just makes sense. But I know to a lot of people, they don't want to believe there's a God, you know. But if there's no God, then there's no meaning in anything. There's no purpose to even complain. Because why would you care? Or what order can come from animals? Or what value does complaining have in a world with no meaning? If everything is just a result of, well, that's just your genetic loss, your failure, then what is the value of complaining? Just accept your loss. But see, no one's going to accept that because we know there's deeper meaning in this life. There's deeper meaning in us. And a lot of people are fighting the truth within. And that's why often people get frustrated when they have wealth. Like I always said, the wealthy are the ones committing suicide. The wealthy are the ones that, win it all just to realize they have no purpose in life, that they're empty. That money cannot buy respect. Money can get people to lie to you. It can get people to give you a false sense of respect. But if it's conditional to what you have, it's not true. Because we all need people to have understanding. We all need people to understand that there are situations and variables in life beyond your control. And you need patience, you need understanding, you need compassion, but you also need correction. See, all these things are spiritual values that develop you. It's the suffering in life that actually proves the value of experience, because that's how you grow. That's how you learn who you are. That's how you understand how to relate to people in different situations. And it gives you a greater way to connect and to actually instill values ahead of time as a form of prevention instead of cleaning up after the fact of a mess that could have been avoided. You cannot learn these things. You cannot see all the indoctrination coming upon the world unless you have spiritual eyes. So I just had to touch up on this a bit. I'm flying off the cuff, but it's a great topic of discussion. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a part 3. All right, peace.